Well, there's a lot of things going on in Winnipeg and a lot of choirs as well. One of those choirs has a concert coming up this weekend and really looking forward to that concert. They're called Esprit de Choeur Women's Choir. They're a vibrant musical ensemble conducted by Valdine Anderson, and also they're accompanied by Rachel Dick. Their goal is to forge new paths in choral concert experiences. For audiences, they merge eclectic combinations of traditional and contemporary choral repertoire, be it a cappella or collaborating with chamber instrumentalists. Their conductor and their founder is in the studio with me this morning, Valdine Anderson. Good morning, Valdine.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in so early. So before we talk about the concert, tell us a little bit about founding Esprit de Choeur, this women's choir.
You know, this was an interesting story. I teach at the university, and I have some private students as well. We were thinking that we would get the group together just to sing some music with harmony. They're all great singers. They all enjoy that experience of singing together. We thought, well, why don't we try this just in September and go into the Winnipeg Music Festival in March for a one-off experience. And we had a great time. When it was finished, they thought, well, let's just keep going and we'll do a spring concert together. And, you know, we sort of evolved with a few more people joining the group, and suddenly we had maybe 16 singers, and we just kept going. And last year we had, I think we reached our largest number. We had 35 singers, and this year we're around 31, and it's a great group. We have a lot of fun, but the main thing is that people really enjoy the challenge of singing beautiful music together, and we really aim for a high standard, but at the same time we all have a great time.
So how does one become a member of Esprit de Choeur?
Well, it is a community choir, so it's open to individuals who are interested in singing. There's an audition, just because we like to move at a fairly quick pace, and usually choose ambitious repertoire, mainly for its beautiful, quality or great composing, or just something about it that's just that we just have to do it.
So when the group started, were you just conducting, or were you singing as well? Were you?
No, I was just conducting, and partly it was for me too. I had one time, my mother was a conductor as well, and the odd time I would step away from my solo singing, and she would say, "Can you take over a rehearsal for me? I'm busy." And I found it pretty unsettling to face a lot of people and try to communicate with them with my arms and hands. So I thought, well, if my students want to sing together, this would be a great chance for me to see if I can develop a little bit of skill in that direction too. So I was a beginner then, and still consider myself learning fast.
So you've had quite a career yourself, obviously. As you say, you're just kind of getting into conducting right now, but your background is singing. Just briefly, tell listeners, in case they're not familiar, some of the places you've been and performed.
Oh, gee.
The list, it's a long list, but just some of the highlights, when you think about your career.
Oh, yeah, it's a long list. I sang on the international performing circuit for over 20 years. It was my full-time job. I was based in Germany for the majority of it, and in Toronto in England, and basically sang with every European and North American orchestra there was. Highlights would have been maybe a U.S. tour with Berlin Philharmonic and Sir Simon Rattle. Another highlight was singing with the Chicago Symphony and Wynton Marsalis and Daniel Barenboim. That was another nice thing. There's a composer right now who's got an opera on at the Met, The Exterminating Angel, Thomas Addis. And of course, I started off with Tom. We were both just beginning out in England together, so we worked together a lot and did a lot of recitals together. And I recorded his first opera with him, Powder Her Face, which was nominated for a Grammy. And
I've seen that video.
Yeah, it's not for general audience. It's a spicy story, but
it is.
But beautiful music, and he writes beautifully for the voice. And he's one of those composers where you say, this seems pretty extreme in the range department, and he can actually say, well, I can sing it.
You can, huh? Wow.
So there's no excuse, and we all do it, and it's great.
So what when you're conducting and you're putting together a program, what is it that you look for? When you're putting together a program of music for your choir, what kind of songs do you choose?
It usually comes from one or two pieces that are just hit me, and I go, we've got to do this, and then I start to think about a cohesive theme. What else might go with this that I'm dying to do, or I do some. I listen a lot and look for music that is unusual or that I think my choir could do beautifully, or that really appeals to me or speaks to me, and then we just try to do it. And I'm sure we've stepped beyond maybe the typical place where choirs are at this level, but we really I think the challenge is great, and we just maybe because I don't know the choral scene as well as I know the solo repertoire. I just jump in and do it, and it's been a lot of fun.
So tell us about the concert coming up. It is called Christmas Fusion. Esprit Christmas Fusion takes place Saturday at 7 p.m. I'll give our listeners details in a few minutes as to how to get tickets. I'm in the studio with their conductor, Valdine Anderson. So tell us about Christmas Fusion.
Christmas Fusion is a project that I thought we could reach out a little bit and expand our boundaries. Our concerts don't really follow any specific kind of genre per se. We're not a Baroque choir or a typically contemporary music choir. We try to do a little bit of everything. And this time around, I thought it would be nice to expand with. We've got a vocal jazz group as our guests, the Snowtones. They've been in the studio before, I know. Yeah. And we have an opera singer, a former student of mine actually from the U of M, who went on to get her master's at U of T, is singing with Frankfurt Opera now, Jessica Strong. She's coming to sing a solo with us, and then we've got some French Canadian music with the wooden spoons and fiddling, as well as Latin music and contemporary American choral music. So it's a real mixture, and I think of it as a fusion, really expanding, celebrating our talent, our Canadian talent at the end of Canada's 150.
Okay. Well, Valdine, thank you very much for coming in this morning. Have fun this weekend. It sounds like it's going to be fun.
I think so too, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Valdine Anderson from Esprit de Choeur. Their concert takes place Saturday, 7 p.m., Crescent Fort Rouge United Church. Tickets available at the door from choir members and also from McNally Robinson Booksellers. Again, it's called Christmas Fusion.